Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Wednesday, hump day, halfway through the week, almost to the weekend. Enjoy those weekends. And when I present these videos, I am hoping to give information, knowledge, techniques, books to read that is hopefully helpful to everyone. And it's based on what I do. And sometimes a theme shows up that kind of says, maybe you should talk about this. And over the past week, I've had 3 separate brain injury patients come through my office, and their statement was, people keep telling us to get over it, and they don't get it. And I hear that quite frequently with some of my brain injury patients, because it's not obvious. They walk, they talk, they look physically fine, and yet there's something wrong. Some of them say it would be easier if I could chop off my left hand, and then people would understand why things don't work, because they could see a tangible why. And it's hard for them to verbalize what is going on because the thought processes to create that language is slowed down. A really good analogy, and especially for everyone who grew up in the 80s and who knows a Commodore 64 and in the 90s with dial-up internet, well, take your high-speed internet with your high-performing computer that we have now, and then after a brain injury, all of a sudden you're running dial-up on a Commodore 64. That's the speed. Very slow and doesn't work very well. For anyone who's had a cold, like a really bad cold or flu, a lot of times you'll experience some of this for a short period. It's called brain fog. I call it cotton head. It's almost like a very heavy weight in your brain, and it's very difficult to hold that thought and have logic process go through your brain. It's like, I just need to sit on the couch and not think. Imagine that's like that 24/7 for 5 years. The other problem with this is that they can't see it when they do their scanning. So a lot of these brain injury patients will have an MRI or a CT scan, and it's not like a big brain bleed or a big piece of damage in the brain and go, oh, there it is, that's why that's not working. A lot of times it's very diffuse. It's microscopic. And what will happen with the brain injury is where the cells kind of connect, one disseminates the information, the other one catches it. Either the one cell is completely dead and therefore there's no information to catch, or they're offset or stretched out and therefore the information is slower, hence dial-up in Commodore 64. 2 recommendations that I'm going to give to you today, and this applies to whether you've had a brain injury. And in brain injury, I'm not just talking physical concussion. I'm also including emotional strain that caused brain fog. I'm also including disease. Some people with COVID, long COVID, has created this situation. People who had the vaccine, some people with the vaccine had a reaction, created this problem. So it's not just a necessarily physical hit of the head. It could be on other levels that these cells no longer talk to each other. A really good movie to watch is called Concussion. Will Smith is in it, and he plays a doctor, and he's the one that diagnoses chronic traumatic encephalopathy in NFL players, where there are a lot of frequent small head hits, and because there's a lot of frequent small head hits, it creates small physical changes that add up over time, and all of a sudden things don't talk anymore. And the problem is that it won't show up on an MRI or a CT scan because it's microscopic. The only way you'll find it is if we can actually do a brain slide and throw it under the microscope. Well, then you're dead. So let's not do that while you're alive. Very informative and fills in a lot of blanks as to why some of these things happen. And then to go a little further, and I highly recommend this if you're a family member, somebody who supports a teacher, a coach, anyone who's involved with a person who has had a brain injury and it's lingering. Read this book, Ghost in My Brain. It's a first-hand account of a college professor who gets in a car accident, has a concussion, and how the thought processes stopped working. It also explains his recovery from all of this. And it's quite illuminating for anybody who hasn't been in it. It gives you a really good picture of what's happening up here for you to understand, and why saying just get over it or just work through it just doesn't happen. What I do, it helps people get over it. It helps them get through it. It helps them to take that Commodore 64 on dial-up and let's amp up that speed of the internet and get the computer processing faster. Read the book, watch the movie, let me know what you think. And if you happen to be somebody who is repeatedly being told, get over it, give me a call. I can help. Have a good day and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.